Hey everyone, Hasgaha here again. I have something a little different for you in this video. It's not my typical Star Citizen gameplay footage. If you didn't know, I take a lot of screenshots in Star Citizen and upload them to my Flickr account. I'll then share those on Reddit and Twitter and the RSI forums and sometimes put batches of them together into slideshow videos. Anyway, after posting one of my screenshots to Reddit, a user by the name of The Real Willy replied to a string of comments in which another user was asking how I get images without the helmet HUD and other UI elements. My reply was that I use Photoshop trickery to edit out the HUD after I take the picture, but then the Real Willy chimed in and said they discovered a way to do it in-game. Now, for someone who takes lots of screenshots, having the option to remove the HUD in-game is huge, but it's just not possible right now, not really. But the Real Willy found a way without any hacks or modifications to the game or the image. I tried it immediately and discovered it worked. I'm not suggesting that the Real Willy was the first or only person to figure out this technique, but this was the first time I had ever heard about it. What follows is my explanation of how to accomplish it and lots of clips of it in action because it works for screenshots and videos. And if you're paying attention, you'll notice that I don't currently have a HUD, but that's because in ArcCore you don't wear a helmet. And there you go, an unobstructed, completely HUDless view. I let this run for about 16 minutes while I kept the view moving up. I wanted to know if I had ever hit a limit, an upper limit, on the ArcCore ceiling. But I ran out of time, so I never hit the limit, I just stopped it after a while. And I've also sped up the video because I don't think you'd want to sit through 16 minutes of the skyline slowly drifting down. I was really torn about whether or not I should publicize this or not. On one hand, it's sort of a bug. It should not be possible to do this. It breaks immersion and could be taken advantage of in hostile situations, which you'll understand momentarily as I go through these clips. If CIG makes more robust camera controls that make sense in the game, I am all for it, and I've said that before. But this just doesn't seem right. On the other hand though, I've been craving something like this for a while, and I was scared that if I reported it, I'd lose this control. In the end, I decided to put it out there. I hope people take advantage of it while it lasts in alpha, for capturing epic screenshots and more creative angles in videos. And I hope CIG does fix it eventually, but given that it's an alpha, I hope that this is a low priority. Please. And again, a big thanks to the Real Willy for sharing this with me. I put a link to Willy's YouTube channel in the video description below. Please check it out. It's also worth mentioning that I have only tried this in Alpha 2.3.1. I don't have access to the PTU, so I don't know if this still exists or not. The key presses that I use are based on the 2.3.1 default key mappings, and I know they've changed a bit in 2.4, so you might have to adjust. That flash or glitch in the clouds was just me stopping the previous video and starting a new one. I was afraid as I went higher and higher that I would crash or somehow lose my video footage, so I wanted to break it into smaller chunks. I've also been incrementally increasing the speed of the playback throughout this clip. It's significantly faster. I think it's almost 900% now. And here is where I decided to stop moving upwards and pan around and see how the camera controls worked from this height. It basically turned out to be one giant selfie stick, if you can think of it that way, where the end of the stick at the bottom was attached to my head. And if I pitched forward, the entire stick would lean forward, so I'd cover vast distances as I went down. Alright, that's great, but how do you do it? First, go into third-person view by pressing Insert. Then, press Page Up to unlock the camera to do more of a free mode. Then, repeatedly tap the up arrow on the arrow keypad to inch your way up past the head of your avatar. Holding down the up arrow will not work, you have to tap it. For this demonstration and to get that smooth panning upwards, I created a voice attack macro that pulses the up arrow for me. And the same works for the down arrow key. So to go back down, you can just tap the down arrow while still in the page up free mode look. Once you change out of that, the up and down arrows don't do anything. You have to have that page up free mode active. And to quickly and easily reset your view, just hit insert to get back into first person view, and then you hit insert again, you'll be back to your normal third person view. And you can also do this starting by going down. The camera will bump into things that have collision on them. So I'll hit the ground and then the camera slides forward as I continue tapping the down arrow. Now, because you're in free mode look and you're extending your view out from your head, the controls get a little wonky at times. It takes some practice to actually get used to, and it can be pretty hard to get into the angle and position that you want. But here's another demonstration. So I've lifted up, I've taken it out of free mode now, and I'm now walking around and looking around like normal, but with what, like a 20-foot pole on my head? I very much get a Peeping Tom vibe with this. I can extend my view up and peer into people's windows. So again, as you pitch forward or move your view down, it pivots from your head and goes all the way to the ground. So it's this giant arc that goes backwards and forwards. And I've never actually been able to see my own body when I've extended the view up. I know nothing about game engines, so I don't know if I'm using the term correctly, but the camera can pass through some things that I'm assuming don't have collision on them, like this gear thing. But the walls, the ground, most of it keeps me out. Alright, so now why I think this is not a good thing to have. Here's some practical examples. I'm EVA below the level of the landing pad, and I'm going to extend my view up. Now, while in EVA, tapping the up button, you can see it starts to roll me backwards. And the faster you tap it, the more this happens. So do it slowly, and then once you get to the right height, reset your view, and then I'm going to move into the edge of the pad. Now remember, my body, my character is below the edge of the pad. And if I press the button too quickly, I just start spinning backwards. So again, my character is below the edge of the pad. No one can see me from the pad, but I can see anything happening on the pad. I can watch this guy checking out my M50. He has no idea that I'm here watching him. And now I'll go back down and show you exactly where I was. While doing all this, I discovered this neat little footage where I went below myself in EVA and then went really fast at the pad and tried to land on it and got this cool landing running clip. Here's another example of how the extended camera reacts to things that have collision on them. So I've tried to extend it beyond the ceiling, but it gets stopped by the ceiling and any other obstruction on the ceiling. So the overhangs, sometimes the lights, the edges of the walls and whatnot. Now here's another clip of me actually using it in an FPS situation. I was at Korea. Someone was following me, I was trying to follow them, and I discovered that they had just landed their Hornet on a pad. So I decided to go under the pad in the shadows and extend my view up, so that I could check to see if they were near their hornet, coming back towards their hornet, and whatnot, and watch them from a safe distance and them not even know I'm there. If my field of view seems wider than normal, that's because it is. I've set a custom field of view or FOV setting in my user config file so that I could get a wider shot for screenshots that I was working on. And again, a quick switch back to the HUD mode to show you where my character actually is. And one more practical example. I'm still in Korea, just below the station itself on a landing pad. I'm going to extend my view up and peer into the windows to see if I can find the guy that I'm following. If he's in there, if he's near a window, maybe I can get his general location. If using this bug in this way concerns you, I would highly encourage you to check out the bug report that I'll be filing on the RSI website. I'll put a link to it in the description below. And here I'm going to be above a window in the shadows and go down with my view to see if I can peer in through the windows and get a glimpse of whoever I'm stalking. And now back to a more harmless application.
We advise guests, please use caution upon exiting the armistice zone, as weapons will once again.
Press insert to get to third person view, press page up to go into Freelook mode, and then start tapping the up arrow to extend my view upwards. Then, to get back down level with the M50, I kneel, and then I also go into prone position on the ground. And again, I'm still using a custom field of view setting, so my view is much wider than it's supposed to be. And here's an example of using this for screenshots. This is how I've been taking screenshots, with the HUD intact and then having to remove it later in Photoshop. But now I can use this third-person camera bug to get a clean, clear shot. So I'm curious to hear what you all think about this. Is it relevant? Does it matter? Nobody cares. Obviously, if you're not taking screenshots or shooting video, it probably doesn't matter all that much, since actually using it in an FPS situation is a bit clunky. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching.